welcome to Rev Sports. Yesterday at 12 p.m., we dissected KKR, Rajasthan Royal, and CSK's failed campaigns. And today we're going to be looking at Lucknow Super Giants and Sunrisers Hyderabad. Lucknow Super Giants had an abysmal season, while SRH blew hot and cold but are ultimately out of the tournament. DC's hopes hang by a thread. They can still make it. 2 games left in the leagues, but let's see what happens with that. Everything will depend on tonight's game. Going forward for this show today with me is Naman Suri, Devashish Sen, and Bharat Ramraj. Naman Suri will be at the Wankhede today covering the game, giving us all the updates from on ground. And it will be an important one because yellow alert are over Mumbai. And this match means everything. This match is a decider for the final spot in the playoffs. So it's going to be quite an interesting game to look at. But Naman, let's start with you. Let's start with Lucknow Super Giants. We'll talk about DC later because their playoff chances aren't over yet. But starting off with LSG, Rishabh Pant, captain, very silent with the bat. The entire season has been abysmal for Lucknow Super Giants, especially when you talk about other players as well. Mayank Yadav, battling with injuries, did not play much. So if you really look at it, nothing clicked for LSG.
Before I start with LSG, just an update for the Mumbai Delhi game. Right now, it's shrouded with clouds. The city is shrouded with clouds, and the IMD has forecasted heavy showers throughout the day, likely to get cleared by the evening. But with the clouds still hanging on and there's no rain till now, it's like it can be heavy shower in the evening. So it could be a destroyer of the decider. So let's see. But coming back to LSG, a lot of things didn't pan out well for them. Don't think they did well in the auction table by going all out in their Indian pace attack. For their Indian pace attack, they retained three pacers: Avesh Khan, Mohsin Khan, and even Mayank Yadav. All of these being injury prone, I think that kind of didn't pay out well for them. And then they added Akashdeep as well, and I think he also being injury prone kind of didn't work out well for LSG. They were banking a little too much on their foreign stars to bat themselves out of danger, and that is what they had been doing till now. Mitchell Marsh, Nicholas Puran, even Aiden Makram, all of these batters were heavily scoring in the initial phase of the tournament, while middle order wasn't doing well. Even David Miller hasn't had the best of the season. A few sparks here and there. Rishabh Pant has been abysmal throughout the campaign. His captaincy might have shown some sparks, but that has also faltered significantly. Then Ayush Badoni is something that they can bank on in the future. He has shown some sparks when coming on as an impact player. Uh, Abdul Samad is something that they can utilize on. But I think at the end of the day, with the way they have gone out, kind of sums up their season. They were banking a little too much on their foreign stars, and they had nothing to show in the bowling department. Their spinners, one fine being Digvesh Rathi, and he is also banned for the next match because of his celebrations and antics against Abhishek Sharma. That kind of has came out of the game for SRH. I think it is SRH, right? Yeah. So that is something that they will be positive about, but there are a lot of negative. Their star spinner Ravi Bishnoi, I don't think he has many variations, and one thing that he was banking on didn't work out well this season. Everyone was able to dissect him and was able to play him very well, and that kind of has not worked out well for. They didn't strategize, I think, and this starts from the auction table itself. Not having enough fast bowlers to bank on, despite knowing that your bowlers are very weak. They can falter anytime, they can get injured anytime. I think that has kind of made it inconsistent for them. Shardul Thakur was the person they were banking on to lead the attack. He being an all-rounder, I don't think you can depend on Shardul Thakur as the lead of attack. So I think all of these things should have been decided during the auction table. Before the auction table, Nicholas Puran, even now the batting is also not working out well. Nicholas Puran showed something in the last game, but before that he was having a dry spell. Mitchell Marsh and Aiden Markram is something that they were continuously scoring, but the middle order, that is the main concern. The middle order in the batting department and the bowling department as a whole hasn't worked out well. So I think it all started from the auction table. They didn't strategize it well, and I think it was expected at some point in time that this bowling will falter. To be fair, seeing this bowling lineup when the auction was done and dusted, I felt that they are going for a wooden spoon. I think they did a lot better than it was expected because they have finished in the middle of the table, and I think that is something they can be, I mean, proud of, I guess.
Absolutely. And there's a comment here asking, will Rishabh Pant continue as captain next season? Abhiraj Pal, I just wrote a story, and it's on the Rev Sports website. And from what I'm getting from my sources is that LSG is going to take this as an aberration season. They're going to take this as a one-off aberration and will continue with Rishabh Pant for 2026 as well. So that's what I'm getting from my sources. There's more details in that copy. You can go and read that. But Devashish, LSG, when we talk about it, Rishabh Pant as captain, did he impress you, or do you think he was taking too much pressure of the price tag, or was it that his failure with the bat was reflecting in his captaincy as well?
I would say so. Means obviously Australia means scoring only 135 runs from 12 matches, and that itself says a lot, and that might have reflected on his captaincy as well. So clearly, as far as captaincy is concerned, it was a huge letdown, and obviously that pressure of that huge amount of money means obviously being going for the most expensive player, and obviously it and just much like the case with Venkatesh Iyer, I would say. Means Venkatesh Iyer for KKR, similar as Rishabh Pant for LSG. Means obviously two players who the franchisee have banked has broken their bank. They have let their franchisee down big time. Yes, and obviously, if you ask, it is their bowling. It is more than their batting, because if you look at, I was just looking at the statistics as to what have been the scores like. Their foreign brigade, as far as the batting is concerned, have done reasonably good means compared to other franchises. If you ask someone like Rishabh, yes, despite Nicholas Puran, who started the season with a bang, scoring those four consecutive half centuries in 6 matches, but the next 6 matches he has failed to deliver, and so even he has not scored more than 15 runs in each of his next four innings out of six. And so that is a big letdown. But despite that, he has scored 455 runs. A batter of his caliber means obviously scoring somewhere 450 plus runs. Yes, you deserve a lot more support from the other batters. Yes, Mitch Marsh with those 443 runs and Aiden Markram at the top, they have given the start that the LSG franchise would have hoped for. But it is their middle order. The real concern for LSG this season has been their middle order. Means neither of their middle order, means be it Rishabh Pant or Ayush Badoni or Abdul Samad, who was primarily brought as a finisher, David Miller. So I think the biggest disappointment has to be David Miller. 153 runs from 11 games does not do justice. David Miller, the way he played for Gujarat Titans, and David Miller here at LSG was a big letdown. So I think it is the bowling. Yes, Mayank Yadav, a lot is expected of him, but he did not do well. Even if when he got those two opportunities, he went for a lot of runs. So and also Mohsin Khan also being missed. So clearly, Akashdeep, another India player, what was expected of him means obviously he also had a poor season, only 3 wickets showing. And so I think clearly, the only bright spot for LSG as far as the bowlers are concerned, as Naman said, is the Digbesh Rathi. And the other bowlers, even for that matter, Shardul Thakur, 13 wickets, and also when it comes to Shardul, the all-rounder, means obviously when you are thinking of him making a return to the Indian team, and then you look at his performance in IPL, means he has scored how many runs? I think 18 runs from 10 games, and that is abysmal. So I think the overall, if you look at, I think just as it has been tweeted by Dr. Sanjeev Goenka, the owner, I think they started with a promising note, but it has been challenging towards the second half of the season. and that sums it all. Means obviously, LSG will have to regroup and come back strongly. But yes, let's hope that they go on to win the remaining two games in the season.
Bharat, when we talk about LSG, it's not like they had a bad team. That was not a bad team on paper at all. It's just nothing clicked. Like Devashish also pointed out, Akash Deep did not fire. Ravi Bishnoi as well. When we talk about the other bowlers, Mayank Yadav did not play most of the matches. I think only featured in a couple of them, if I'm not wrong. And apart from that, Rishabh Pant really had no backing there at all. When we look at it from the other perspective, he also did not have a complete playing 11 in his armory.
Yeah, they depended on individual brilliance. Nicholas Puran early on in the tournament was really good. Then after that, he kind of lost his way in the second half of the tournament. Mitchell Marsh made some good contributions. Digvish Shetty obviously was a star for them. He's someone who's come to the fore. But I have always believed when it comes to the IPL, I always believed that if you're looking at the batting, you have to look at an Indian batting core. If you look at the pace bowling stocks, then you have to look at an overseas pace bowling core. The reason is a lot of Indian pace bowlers are injury prone. If you like it or not, they are injury prone. Usually, if you mix it up with overseas paces, they tend to do a little better. I'm not obviously Jasprit Bumrah is at some other level, and couple of other pace bowlers like Siraj and Prasidh Krishna could be bowling well, but largely that is what I have always believed. And if you look at LSC's pace attack, they've gone with Mayank Yadav, Avesh Khan, Akash Deep, and Mohsin Khan. Out of those three of them are injury prone. Even Avesh Khan has had injury problems. Yes, it's good for LSC that he came through the season, did well in the slog overs, put on gritty performances, but he also has been injury prone. And there one overseas pacer, Shamar Joseph himself is very raw when it comes to T20 cricket and has had shin problems, shin injuries. So I think that was one of LSC's problems. And another problem, obviously, it's already been talked about their middle order alongside Nicholas Puran losing form. That really hit LSC hard because he was somewhere at the top of the batting charts in the first 6 or 7 games. After that, the pace bowlers perhaps started to bowl much better at him. Left arm, as it has already been noted, left arm pace bowlers have had some success against him. Right arm pace bowlers from round the wicket have had some success against him. So he tapered off, his performances tapered off, and that really, I think, affected LSG. So that is what I would say about LSG's negative points, but they still have some positives. Obviously, another negative point obviously would be Rishabh Pant's very poor form. I don't have to say much on it because a lot has been discussed about it, but there were still a few positives, as I noted. Digvish Shetty, he has really come to the fore. He gets that bounce. His control is very good. He doesn't do much with the ball. Maybe that carom ball, the one, the little bit of top spinner maybe here or there, but he gets that bounce. His control is very good, and it is very difficult to hit someone who bowls with that kind of pace and gets bounce.
Yep.
Yeah, on the other side, obviously, Bishnoi didn't perform well for them, but there are still a few positives to take.
Hmm. And now, Naman, if we talk about Sunrisers Hyderabad, there were definitely some brilliant performances that we saw from the team. Very dominating wins. Again, 200 plus totals thanks to that Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma opening pair. But they've blown hot and cold. And really, after what we saw in the last season, this was, compared to that, this was below par from Sunrisers Hyderabad under the captainship of Pat Cummins.
Definitely, I think they were trying to imply that same strategy that they had utilized last season, and it worked out pretty well for them. But this time around, when they came back and used that same strategy with further by being after being further bolstered with the likes of Ishan Kishan, I think what failed was that they weren't able to read the conditions well. This time around, there were less flatter pitch, a lot of sluggish pitches there were there. I mean, at points we have discussed that there aren't bowler friendly pitches, but I feel at this point in time there were a lot of bowler friendly pitches, and someone like Hyderabad wasn't able to replicate what they did in the first game at their home ground. They scored somewhere around 267, 270, and I think that was the max they could have reached. And after that, none of their batters were able to read the conditions well. They weren't consistent enough to play on that same wavelength. Abhishek Sharma, I think, might have done a bits here and there, but other than that, Ishan Kishan, after that first innings, was horrendous because he wasn't able to do anything. And that wicket that he gave away against Mumbai Indians, I think that was kind of a crucial point for their season. That just summed it up that they weren't in their minds weren't into the game and they were not able to perform the way they would have wanted to. And then the addition that Pat Cummins, even though he is one of the best leaders in the international forum, at this point in time, he didn't have the bowlers to back him up. Mohammad Shami, like Bharat sir keeps saying on putting out that he has lost his nip, and it was seen. He wasn't at the best of his prowess this time around in the IPL, and it is a bit of concern for India because he's going to go to England, and if he is going to perform like this, if he's going to be, uh, I mean, not strategic enough the way he has always been, I think that can be a cause of concern. And then there were injuries as well. Adam Zampa got out. They were depending on a very young spinner and Zishan Ansari. And I think they didn't plan it out well. Their injuries that came out of nowhere, I think that kind of didn't work out well from them. Harshal Patel is a positive, no doubt about that. He has consistently performed. He got injured, he came back, he still performed well, but I think you cannot bank on one bowler. Pat Cummins also didn't have the best of the season. He was also getting knocked out for runs very quite easily. In a few matches, he delivered, but I don't think that works out well for the team if it's a long tournament like IPL. And I think more than the auction table or the buys, I think they bought players quite well according to the strategy they wanted to deploy. I think what didn't work out well was the form of the players and their strategy to understand the conditions. It is not going to be a flat wicket everywhere, so that is, I think, what didn't work out for Hyderabad. And with that, I will like to leave this because I have to join the Hindi conversation and show them the weather conditions out here in Mumbai. So I'll say bye now. Thank you.
Debashish, what was it about SRH? Was it the explosive batting lineup that, their entire template was go big or go home? And clearly that did not work out very well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. You summed it up absolutely. You are spot on. Means obviously, as Naman said, that failing to read the conditions well, and they need to rethink about their template. Means obviously, yes, I know that T20 cricket is all about slam bang, going hard at the bowlers right from the word go. But in doing so, in multiple occasions, you have seen where they could have scored at least 15-20 runs more. They ended up scoring much low total. Means I think that is one area where they are big time. Means obviously, except for Abhishek Sharma and to some and none of them has been consistent, and that is a big letdown, especially someone like Ishan Kishan. And the same thing applies to the bowling department as well. They did not have a quality spinner. Yes, Dishan Ansari is young and he has done reasonably well, but when you talk about someone like Varun Chakravarti or Akshar Patel, clearly, I think they have lost that ploy in the auction table, not getting a quality spinner. Yes, if you have an Adam Zampa, then where you have to drop at least one overseas player getting in Adam Zampa in that playing 11 means because Pat Cummins is a certainty with him being the captain. So I think they have earned it in the auction table by not picking a quality Indian spinner. What I mean by quality Indian spinner, it's someone who is regular in the Indian team. So yes, that is where they lacked big time.
Finally, Bharat, your sorry, what is going on here? Some talk about puchkas going on in the comment section that completely derailed my train of thought. But Bharat, your thoughts about SRH? What went wrong apart from obviously the batting lineup blowing hot and cold and not really firing when it mattered the most. You're on mute.
There are problems in their bowling attack as well. If you look at Mohammad Shami, I think he's lost a little bit of nip. that kind of C movement that he was getting, late C movement of the pitch that he was not getting in this IPL, at least even since he has returned from injury. That kind of nip is not getting, so that really affected them, because I guess they took Mohammad Shami with the thinking that he would take a lot of wickets up front, but that didn't happen. If you look at the spin department, the department also had problems. Unfortunately, Zishan bowled well, but unfortunately for him, some 8 or 10 catches were dropped off his bowling almost in every game. They kept dropping a catch or two off his bowling. I don't know what exactly it is, but that also happened. And someone like Pat Cummins also didn't fire on all cylinders with the ball in hand. So the ball in hand as well, they had enough issues. Harshal Patel kind of came good at the back end of the season, but by then it was too late for SRH. So I think it was just over across departments other than fielding. Only thing was they were dropping catches of Zishan's bowling, but if you leave that, they were one of the better fielding sides. But in terms of their batting department as well as their bowling department, I think they had issues even in the batting department. Someone like Hendrich Klaasen doesn't seem like the batsman that he used to be. Couple of seasons ago, he kind of struggled to play the kind of innings that everyone expected of him against spin bowling. So, considering all that, I would say in both departments they had problems.
All right, and with that, we'll take your leave. We'll be back at 5. And Naman will join us from outside of the Wankhede Stadium. We've got a lot coming up tonight. And of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on the weather and we will be updating you from time to time. So don't forget to join us and stay tuned to Rev Sports. We'll be back soon. Thank you.